Okay, guys. Now, before I play this video, it's just a 2 minute video. The audio doesn't match her lips. So I just want you guys to be aware of that ahead of time. This isn't a me thing. This is a her thing. But what she has to say is important. So please just bear with it. And we'll talk about it when we get back.
Hey, I'm learning something new about how wicked this world really is. Y'all know that old saying, knock on wood? Y'all know how when you say something and people be like, oh, hurry up and knock on wood so it don't happen. Come to find out, knocking on wood is summoning demons. It is an old pagan ritual that they used to do where the demons would basically hide themselves in trees, and they would go knock on wood, and the demon would summon, or not summon, the demon would reveal itself, and the people would ask the demon for a favor. It is an old pagan ritual that summons demons. So the fact that people will be like, oh, hurry up on knock on wood so that don't happen. And you notice a lot of times, even when you say do that, it would still happen. Yeah, that's because you're summoning a demon. That's crazy to me, because growing up throughout school, it was always, people would always be like, knock on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood. Little do we know this whole time we were using pagan rituals. This world is so wicked, bro. That's crazy to me. And then another thing, because I know a lot of black people have this tattoo. I've known 2 people in my life that has had this tattoo. We call it the Egyptian eye, but it's the eye of Ra or the eye of Horus. If you have that tattoo on you and you are a believer in Christ and you say you love the Lord, you need to cover that tattoo up and you need to repent from that, because that is demonic. That is very much demonic. I'm not even gonna hold you. At a point in time, I thought it was cute, but something in my spirit was always like, don't get that tattoo. Do not get that tattoo. And every time I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get it. I found a cute version of it. I thought it was cute. You know, I'm in the world. I'm lost, just like everybody else. I got tattoos, you know what I'm saying? But I'd be like, oh, that's cute. That's cute. I done found a cute version of it. I'm gonna go ahead and get that. Every time I said it, the Lord would stop me. And at the time, I didn't realize that it was God stopping me, but something would always happen and it would stop me from getting that tattoo. The world is wicked, 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 wicked.
So, as I said, the audio didn't match her lips, but I pray that you guys just listened and persevered anyway, because how many of you out there have this tattoo? And I know it's not really a thing. Like she said, it's a black community thing where they put the Eye of Ra tattoo on them. Now, I do know some people that aren't black that have that tattoo, but when we knock on wood, that's an everybody thing. Everybody does that. Let me look up the origin of knocking on wood. So it says the exact origin is uncertain, but it likely stems from a mix of ancient pagan traditions, religious adaptations, and 19th century children's games. People use the phrase and gesture globally to avoid tempting fate after a boast or a lucky statement. Pagan tree spirits. Ancient Celtic and Germanic tribes believed that beneficent spirits and gods lived in trees. Tapping the bark was said to summon their protection or thank them for good fortune, or to distract malicious spirits so they wouldn't hear your boast. Christian symbolism. This should not be anything that Christians have adapted. Christian symbolism. Later Christian traditions repurposed the pagan custom, linking the wood to the crucifix or the true cross of Jesus Christ as a source of divine defense. Christians, man, we got to stop trying to adapt pagan rituals and make them our own. We can't repurpose a pagan tradition to make it Christian. Spanish Inquisition. Some folk history suggests Spanish Jews used a secret double knot code on the wooden doors of hidden underground synagogues to safely gain entry during persecution. I mean, I could see that, but that ain't got nothing to do with this, in my opinion. And then the children's game. Folklores note that the earliest printed records of touch wood from the 19th century trace back to a British children's tag game called Tiggy Touch Wood, where touching a wooden object granted immunity from being caught. Those are much more innocent, but still, when it comes down to it and anything is rooted in pagan traditions, that's where I think we have a problem. And I understand, guys, that we do this stuff, as just something that our parents and our relatives and our ancestors, not ancestral worship type ancestors, but, the ones that came before you to do that. So we just repeat it. It's like a recipe that was passed down from grandma. Like you just make it that way because that's the way grandma did it. Unbeknownst to you that there was a certain reason why grandma cooked the meatloaf in two pans. It's because she didn't have a pan big enough for one pan. So I saw that example in a video. That's why I use that in particular. They made these two little pans of meatloaf every year on the holidays instead of just putting it in one big pan for to feed a village or to feed the entire family. That's all grandma had. So that's why she made two of them. So that's why the recipe was split into two. I say all that to say, because I digress there. We got to be cautious about what we're coming into agreement with simply because our family members did it. There was something that my dad always did in particular. And as a child, I thought it was innocent. And I'll play a video for you real fast so that way you understand what I'm talking about.
Okay, so there's a video of a black lady. She's pregnant. A white lady comes up to her and touches her belly. The pregnant lady is then seen spitting into her hand after the white lady touched her belly. A lot of people in the comments are like, oh, that's disgusting. Why would she do that? Now, if you know, you know. That lady was protecting herself and her unborn child. The same ways that you can use blood, the same ways you can use your urine, the same ways you can use expelled oil, water, are the same ways that you can use your spit. In hoodoo, to banish, protect, to seal, to reverse. You're sweeping, you accidentally swept over your foot, spit on the broom. Witchcraft, binding, control, used as a countermeasure for bad luck. Spit can be used for purification, for hexing, for protection, like the list is pretty much endless. In voodoo, you take a sip of alcohol, it's blessed, and then you spit it back out. Oh, look at that belly. Before y'all Christians come in here talking about how it's disgusting, Jesus used his spit to perform several miracles. So I don't know what religion or belief system the pregnant lady comes from, but I'm 99.9% sure that that was intentional. And like the people in the comments freaking out like, oh my gosh, it's witchcraft. But whole time, y'all was doing spit shakes and shit. Like, that's a binding spell, but I digress.
I don't know who exactly she's like referring to by spit shakes. That's not a very common thing. People aren't doing that nowadays. Now I do know that people used to do that back in the day as like a word like handshake contract. Like if you spit in your palm and then shook a hand that you meant business, you were serious about it. But ain't nobody doing that. That's nasty. Nobody's doing that. And then furthermore, she also mentioned about how Jesus spit, and he put the spit in the mud and made the blind guy be able to see. Just because Jesus did something, who's the most powerful, he's God, he can do whatever he wants, right? Just because Jesus did it doesn't make it okay for voodoo to do it. Now, I go back to the example about my dad and what he used to do as a kid. She mentioned it in this video. He would sweep over his foot on accident and then he would spit in the broom. Now, I always ask him, why do you do that, Dad? And he's like, because I don't want to go back to prison. And there's a superstition that if you sweep your foot, you'll get locked up. And so me as a kid, I didn't want to go to prison. So I would spit on the broom when I sweat my foot. Well, guess what? I went to prison twice, right? So apparently it don't work, right? So I stopped spitting on brooms when I became a Christian because I trust in Jesus Christ and I also trust in just obeying the law and doing what I'm supposed to do now. I didn't think about that when I was a kid. I didn't think about that when I was in my younger 20s and just doing stupid stuff to get locked up, right? So I say all that to say, guys, there's certain traditions and things that we do like knocking on wood or spitting on brooms or, getting worried about breaking a mirror and thinking we're going to get 7 years of bad luck. And none of this stuff is found in the Bible. So when we're doing this stuff or we're thinking that this stuff works, that puts power on demons that are behind things instead of putting the authority on Jesus Christ like we should. So that's going to do it for this one, though. I'll leave both of these videos that I reacted to, even though this woman right here is not a Christian. There's a comment right here saying, no disrespect, honestly, but we talk too much. Everything isn't meant to be told to everybody. Secrets and gatekeeping is necessary. Well, I'm thankful that you're talking about this stuff because we can use it against the enemy. This is why Christians need to be aware of spiritual practices, not to use them, not to adapt them, but to use them against the enemy when he's trying to use it on us. So thank you for sharing. That's going to do it for this one, though. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, God bless.